Doing sort of a midday update on the Dow. So, for those who have been following, I've been posting for the past couple of weeks, ever since the downturn, the direction that the market was going to go. And we're basically kind of right at where I said we were going to be, right at that 27K mark, right? The market was going to test 27K. If you had seen my last video, I talked a lot about um, some of the laggards, was primarily uh, companies like JetBlue, The Gap, and cruise lines, right? That's typically where I put a little bit more of my money, was in stocks that I like JetBlue and The Gap, and of course taking profits in some companies that I think were like a little overextended, mostly tech stocks, as the Nasdaq did reach new highs. Looking at the portfolio, I did hit the 10K mark, but then I did take profits on quite a bit, and I still have quite a bit in cash. So overall, we're probably at just shy of 11,000 in the account. And of course, my goal, of course, like I said before, is to put in at least that 1K a month added into the portfolio. Looking to hit probably, in terms of the funding, probably going to hit around the 20, maybe even the 22K mark. I'm going to try to hit for 24K for the end of the year. We'll see how it goes. Have to wait and see. Between like reinvesting, of course, the dividends, you can see currently I've earned just shy of $91 in dividends so far, and I have a market gain of 1364 on roughly 8,000 invested, 8,400 invested. So it's a pretty good return. I did, for those who originally saw my portfolio, I think I had like around 45, 46, maybe even 47 in terms of my holdings, and I've narrowed it down to a good 25 different stocks. Makes it much easier for me to track all these different stocks, as well as, of course, because you have to do research, see what the upcoming earnings are, if there's any news on the stocks, pay attention to the charting, entry points, pullback points. So having that many stocks to look after, it does become a little bit more obviously difficult, because you have to dedicate enough time to paying attention as the different earnings are coming, earning reports are coming out. And so I try to narrow it down to a lot more quality positions. So I'll still be narrowing this down a little bit more, as there are certain stocks that I do want to get out of. Like I said before, did pull out of certain positions. Like GEO really wasn't doing anything for me. I finally got rid of ANF. ANF, I think, kind of come to a price point where I feel it's okay to dump the stock. Over the long period, you can see that the trend was towards the downside, and we're hitting what looks like a resistance area, and I don't think Abercrombie is really that great of a stock. So I decided to take my just decided to get out of the position. I did earn money all basically every position that I got out of. I was up in the money, I think, except for GEO, where I was like down a couple of pennies, I think, on this position, or was flat. I don't think I lost on any single position that I was in. I think the most I might have been maybe down a couple of pennies if I was in. And GEO, this was just like clearing out some money that didn't come out of the previous sell. Some buys that I put in for recently were things like Kellogg. Most of them were dividend paying stocks. And then I think Space is probably like my only more risky stock, like also MGM, because I think MGM still has more upside potential. I think MGM still has a little bit more upside potential, and of course, overall, the trend looked okay. We're coming to a point here where we might hit a resistance level, so I'm gonna wait and see. And of course, we're MGM still up another, was it 90, almost $2 actually. CCL definitely stretching. I more than likely will hold this stock. Not a great stock, um, although I am in at a fairly good price. I kind of like Royal a little bit better. Most of these cruise lines I'll probably be holding for the next couple of years. And of course, things like Foot Locker, I'm still in. Foot Locker doesn't pay a dividend, unfortunately, but I'm still holding in my account. So I did add to, like I said, I've been continuously adding primarily to the ones that are paying dividends, and to positions like MS, the Gap, as well as some of the airliners. So, like I said before, looking at the holdings, I kind of narrowed it down to some of the more quality dividend paying stocks, or positions that I think have quite a bit of an upside potential. For example, like EPD is doing fairly well. A little bit into the oil. Norwegian, I'll still be holding. You can see I'm up fairly decent. I did get in a little bit early and didn't subsequently add enough to certain positions. You can see JetBlue, I'm up almost 66% on most of my positions currently, except for space. Space is more like see if it's going to have any sort of effect with a lot of the space talk that's been going on. Have to wait and see, especially because with what's going on with Virgin Atlantic. In any event, we are up today looking at the portfolio in terms of how the portfolio is doing on a day-to-day basis. You can see for today, can I get the 1 day? We're up just about 4.3% on the day, and the market is only up 1.2% at best. Every market is up under a percent except for the Dow. So you see the portfolio actually doing quite well. In terms of up for the week, we're up almost 17% on the week, and for the month, we're up just shy of 26% for the month. But day to day looking rather well. I did take out quite a few positions. You can see I had quite a few sells here. It's 9 sells, 8 sells, 1 sell, 5 sells. So I was selling quite a few positions and then reinvesting that money into other positions that I'm sure things that were down, more like the cruise liners that still have a little bit of value in them. I still like the gap, even though it's gapped up today. It's actually doing very well. Hopefully you got in. JetBlue is another stock that I do like over the long run. And of course, NC Norwegian. Norwegian is another stock that I do think has quite a bit of upside potential. So I'm going to keep on adding into that. I'm looking for a little bit of pullback. Every time I try to catch the market on a little bit of a pullback, it just seems to race back. It just seems to race back up. And unfortunately, with M1, you really can't pick too much about when you want to enter your positions. It's either in the morning, and of course, if you have access to like M1 Plus, you can have access to the afternoon trading. But again, you never know if the stock is going to gap down, if it's going to shoot up, if it's going to gap up and then come back down. So I just kind of put the orders in. In terms of the positions, my risk portion actually doing pretty good, up over 100%, and we're up 30% in the dividend play. So the dividends that I'm still holding on to, Carnival Cruise doesn't pay a dividend. I'm hoping that it will go back in the future, as I know that they'll be picking up, going back into offering cruises. I believe the last was said that they were going to go back into offering cruises in August. So hopefully over the next a couple of months, maybe to a year, we'll see Carnival as either medications for the coronavirus get better, or maybe a vaccine will come out. I'm not sure, but I do think that Carnival Cruise will be a definite good buy for the long haul. Of course, we have, and I'm assuming the same thing for Foot Locker. Currently, it doesn't pay a dividend. It did pay a dividend before. We're up a little bit in the position. If anything, I can always transition that out into something else. You can see the rest of the stocks that I'm holding into my dividend plays, and I'll be continuing to add a lot of the companies that really didn't get hit too hard, or I was late on the entry, or stocks like Coca-Cola and Kellogg, a little bit on AT&T. So I'm a little bit more hesitant, trying to see if there's going to be a little bit of a pullback for those particular stocks. Still have 1,000 or so left that's going to go into the portfolio. If I get any pullbacks, primarily looking for pullbacks in stocks like GPS or JetBlue. Looking to see if we get a little bit of a pullback. Seems every day like the market is just going up. And looking at the actual Dow, we are coming up to the 27K high, which of the highs of 2019. So I'm a little bit more hesitant. We're seeing very overstretched neck of the market, but again, you never know what's going to happen, primarily because we're still seeing really good volume on the market overall. As you can see, the market is still a lot of strong buying going on, which is why you're seeing the market constantly move up, is because there's a lot of liquidity that's coming into the markets. The primary reason why the markets are moving up is because there's a lot of buy volume. There was a lot of money that was sitting on the sidelines. And of course, a lot of people were probably thinking the market was not going to hold, or the market was not going to rebound the way it did. I'll have to wait and see. An expected pullback in the market would be like around 25K. If the market pulls back, that's probably where I'll end up dumping a little bit more money into the market. I have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see, because that's where we pulled back that's where we pulled back last time. That's our area of previous resistance, and of course that area of resistance now becomes an area of support. And our previous resistance level is right where we're literally hitting it right now. You can see it right here where we hit that 27.5k, and you should be able to see that right there where the market kind of bounced right off of it. Right, so we're literally at that point. You can see that right there. You can see it right here and here where the market pulled back. So I'm hoping that we're going to get a little bit of a pullback so that we can maybe get a little bit of a re-entry, and stocks will pull back. We'll be able to get a little bit of a value play, and I'll be able to add in a little bit more money into the account. In terms of the IRA is also looking good. I did trim the IRA as well down to 28. I believe it was at also at about the 40s, and I had trimmed that as well, and it's doing fairly well overall. Down today, I put in some orders for the day, but overall the portfolio is still doing well. Still be adding to the IRA, but the primary account that we're worried about is this one, just shy of the 10k mark. I was actually over 10k, but then I sold about, I took about 1400 off in terms of profits, and then just added that onto the sidelines as I'm waiting for a pullback. So hopefully we'll hit that 10k. Probably if the market continues going up either today or tomorrow, we'll more than likely hit that 10k mark. If the market is up again tomorrow, we'll more than likely surpass the 10k. That's basically it for now. Like I said, some of the value plays is probably going to be in positions like GPS, either GPS, JetBlue, maybe some Norwegian. If you see a pullback in most of these stocks, have to wait and see. This is basically what I've been looking at over the past couple of weeks, and just trying to add in a little bit, even if I think the market is, if the market is up too much. Like RCL gapped up like $8. I had an order to go in, and I really didn't want to add into it at, I think it was up like $5, $8 yesterday with a hard pullback. So I'm waiting to see if we get a little bit of volume to the downside, then I will add more to a lot of these stocks, because there's a lot of upside potential in a lot of the cruise lines. Certain cruise lines have a little bit more upside potential than others. I think CCL is not that great of a cruise line, even though it does pay a dividend. So I have to wait and see. Looking for growth, RCL, Norwegian. I sold out of my American Airlines. I was not particularly in favor of UA, so I just took my profits in it. Because you can see, right, it should be easy. You can see the trend, right? The trend is to the downside. So even in the up market of 2017, 18, and 19, where the market was just literally making highs, stocks like American were not. They were making lows in a bull market. So I took my profits. I did fairly well in it. Ended up getting out, but I'm still in. Still holding JetBlue, and I believe I sold my Delta. I sold my Delta as well. Probably should have kept it, but I figured percent-wise I could add more money into JetBlue, and I had more of an upside potential. And of course, since I'm working with roughly about 1,000 or so a month, I figured I'd be able to spread it a little bit easier around stocks that are a little bit cheaper, like JetBlue, etc. It's basically kind of why I went that route, as I'm able to purchase more shares with a lot more upside potential. So kind of have to wait and see how the next week goes. Looking forward to hitting that 10k mark. Probably going to take advantage of the borrow and take that 3,500 and just basically throw that right back into the portfolio, especially if I see a bit of a pullback, and if I can earn 15-20% on that 3,500 real quick, I'll basically do that, pull that right out, and then just leave that on the sidelines for a little bit of cash, maybe put a little bit of it into dividends, and a little bit of it into the risk portfolio. Try to get about 20% on that 3,500, and then pull that out just in case we see a bit of a pullback in the market. But in any event, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on future content. Thanks for watching. Take care. God bless.